Chelsea versus Inter in the International Champions Cup ends 1-1 and with a 5-4 win on penalties for Chelsea after Pedro made it 1-0 early on in a Chelsea-dominated first half before Inter equalised early in the second half that saw Inter on top for the majority. Hudson-Odoi shines again, same as Ampadu. Morata much better, Jorginho good again, while Bakayoko and also Caballero disappoint quite a lot. To find out everything about the game in detail, make sure you watch all of today's video. Hello there guys and welcome back to 100% Chelsea for my review of the Chelsea versus Inter Milan game in the International Champions Cup, and it ended up with a win for Chelsea on penalties with the game ending at 1-1 after 90 minutes. This was the second game of our pre-season. In theory, our second win, but realistically today was a draw as obviously, we only won on penalties. But yeah, of course, we're covering all of the pre-season games that Chelsea will, go through before the start of the Premier League season. So if you don't want to miss out on any of that, do make sure you subscribe to 100% Chelsea if you haven't already. And also don't forget to click the notification bell button and choose to be notified about all uploads. And let's see whether we can hit 600 or more likes on this video. That'd be absolutely amazing. So make sure you smash the like button down below if you do enjoy our content. But now actually getting into the review, getting into the game. And we started off with the exact same lineup that started the first friendly against Perth Glory, only a few days ago. In a 4-3-3 formation, of course, it is Maurizio Sarri, with Martin Bulka in goal again, Zappacosta and Marcos Alonso, the two fullbacks, David Luiz and Ethan Ampadu as the two centre-backs, a midfield three of Jorginho, Cesc Fabregas and Ross Barkley, Hudson-Odoi and Pedro as the two wingers, with Alvaro Morata starting up front. But plenty of players that did return from their post-World Cup holiday did make the bench, including Azpilicueta, Caballero, Rudiger, Christensen and Victor Moses, while also new signing Rob Green did make the bench. While Inter also started with a very good team, almost the best 11, except obviously the few that were at the World Cup. And Chelsea started the game really strong with a good chance for Ross Barkley in the second minute already, following a mistake by Inter at the back and then good work by Alvaro Morata to set up Barkley, who had a shot from a tight angle inside the box and forced a decent stop from Handanovic. And then Alvaro Morata actually made it 1-0 with his head in the 5th minute from a Fabregas cross, but the linesman gave it offside. Very, very tight decision. I would have said they were probably level. Only saw one replay, so I'm not 100% sure. But I think they were level. I think the goal should have stood. But at the end of the day, it's only a friendly, so not all too bothered about it. But a goal certainly would have done a load of good for Morata. But then only 3 minutes after that, in the 8th minute, the 1-0 then did stand through Pedro again on his birthday as well today, turning 31. And Chelsea have now scored 2 goals in pre-season, which, by the way, isn't a lot in 2 games. But both scored by, Pedro really. So, fair play to him. The guy must be watching my videos saying that he should be sold because, he's scoring goals. The only one that is actually. Inter, looked very off at the start of the game and we did very well. For the goal especially, Morata especially, got into the box following another blunder by Inter. Then actually lost the ball, Morata did, but won it back with a bit of a shove, to be fair, right by the byline. Probably a foul in all honesty, but it wasn't given. The Morata turned 2 defenders with a very nice, turn himself before, taking a shot from, again, a very tight angle, straight at Danovic's chest, really. But from there, the ball fell straight to Pedro at the edge of the 6-yard box, who was ready to pounce and tap the ball in. And generally, we were looking really good at the start. Very sharp, quick passing, great movement, pressing and shifting very well. And exactly what you want to see, really. With around 50 minutes played, Inter finally got into the game as well and actually made it into a game of football. But major chances were then a bit of a rarity for a while. Some half chances on both sides, though. Well, we were still the better team until Hudson-Odoi created a very good chance for himself just under half an hour gone with a good run down that left-hand side, but placed his shot from inside the box a bit too centrally. It ended up being a fairly straightforward save for the keeper. We were still the slightly better team, but our passing wasn't as slick and quick and stuff as it could be. In the 35th minute, then Inter created their first big chance of the game when Politano took a pass first time from just outside, our box, but scuffed his shot badly and the ball went well wide. Should have really done better there. But that was then really it for the first half and it ended up 1-0. Morata certainly looked a lot better than he did in the first friendly, against Perth Glory last week. And actually scored, but it was given offside like I mentioned. Did well in the build-up for Pedro's goal as well and had some other good moments. Hudson-Odoi and Ethan Ampadu did also look very good, while the midfield were a bit quieter and less impressive than against Perth in the first half. But down to a better opposition, also reportedly very tough training sessions. That obviously all plays into it. But I have to say again, Marcos Alonso looked like the weak link again, in my opinion. I don't know what to say really. Like whenever Inter did get dangerous, most of their attacks, came down the left-hand side, Alonso's side of the pitch. Going forward, he didn't do anything. He had one shot with his weak foot that, wasn't a great shot at all. So I'm not also impressed with him at the moment, and I've been saying this. I don't see Marcos Alonso as a fullback. I don't see him as a left back. As a wing back, fair enough. Even though he also lacks pace there, but he has a lot of qualities that most players don't have. But as a full-on left back, I don't see him as particularly great, in all honesty. But overall, it was still a good first half, by the team, and certainly deserved to be in the lead at half time. As usual in friendlies, we did make a few changes at half time as Caballero, Azpilicueta, Bakayoko and Drinkwater came on for Bulka, Zappacosta, Barkley and Fabregas, basically like-for-like replacements. And the first thing that happened in the second half really was Inter making it 1-1 in the 49th minute through Gagliardini following a horrendously awful mistake by Timur Bakayoko in our own half when he tried to lay the ball back off to Jorginho, but Bakayoko totally missed, the new boy, and Inter pounced with two players up front, basically, with the finisher wrong-footing Caballero, slotting it into the bottom left-hand corner. To be honest, Caballero should have done a fair bit better there. He went down way too quickly, in my opinion. I'm not a goalkeeper specialist, but, he didn't look great there. But still, the main issue with the goal for me was Bakayoko. Some more subs were made in the 65th minute as Victor Moses, Tammy Abraham, Emerson Palmieri, Antonio Rudiger and Andreas Christensen came on for Pedro, Morata, Alonso, Ampadu and David Luiz. Interestingly, Victor Moses coming on to replace Pedro like for like on the right wing. So obviously a lot of people, including myself, think that he could make a fairly decent right back. Not, start ahead of Azpilicueta, of course, but could make a fairly decent right back. But Sarri brought him on the right wing. So that's obviously going to be fairly interesting to see what's going to happen there. Is he going to be an option there? Is he going to play ahead of someone like Hudson-Odoi, which I certainly wouldn't be all too happy about. Moses isn't a bad player, but I don't think just going forward he's quite good enough for what we need, at Chelsea at the moment, in all honesty. In the second half, Inter certainly looked better than they did in the first half. They were definitely a better team early in the second half, and for the majority of the second half, even though we did have our spells here and there, without creating many real chances for themselves, for a while though, but we couldn't really create anything, either. Only in the beginning of the second half, we had a shot by Tammy Abraham, but no more than that. The difference, although, between having Fabregas and Barkley with Jorginho in midfield, and in the second half having Drinkwater and Bakayoko with Jorginho in midfield, was more than just a bit obvious. Like, it changed everything. We just couldn't get passes together. We lost the ball a lot, especially, Bakayoko. It was quite annoying. Already into the last 10 minutes, Jorginho actually did have a great shot from distance, but Inter keeper Handanovic pulling off a great save to keep, the ball that was on its way into the top corner out. Then in the 83rd minute, Lucas Piazon came on for Hudson-Odoi as our last substitutions of the day, I'm pretty sure. With only 5 minutes or so to go, Tammy Abraham found himself with a really good chance to actually make it 2-1 after Piazon and Emerson combined really well down that left-hand side. Emerson firing in a low cross, but just a step behind Abraham, who couldn't sort his footing out anymore, blasted ball over the bar. Abraham could have done a slight bit better there, more like reacting to the cross rather than acting to it and, hoping the cross would go where he, wanted it to go, because there wasn't really any opponents around him. He had quite a bit of space, so he didn't really need to, go for the cross. It only was a few steps that he made, really. But also, I'm not quite sure why Emerson hit the cross as hard as he did, to be honest. I don't think there was anyone behind Abraham that could have gotten to the end of it, so I'm not quite sure what happened there. Should have done better there, both Emerson and Abraham, but it was what it was. And then in injury time, actually, Caballero did make a very good save to keep the score level as the Inter forward got to the end of a cross, which was then met by a first-time effort, like I said, by the Inter forward from well inside the box already, and Caballero made a great, flying save. That's going to make for a good Instagram picture, to be fair. But that was then it for the game, and it ended 1-0, but not without a penalty shootout, as it is standard in the International Champions Cup in pre-season. And like I said, and as you can see in the title, of course, we won the penalty shootout 5-4, with our penalty takers being Jorginho, Danny Drinkwater, Victor Moses, Tammy Abraham and Cesar Azpilicueta sealing the win, while Caballero saved a poor third penalty taken by Skriniar. Very difficult name to pronounce, but the Inter centre-back anyway didn't take a great pen, and Caballero saved it. So we won the game on penalties, and fair play. It's basically a win, but more likely, realistically it's a draw. Similar to the game against Perth Glory only a few days ago, the first half was good, but the second half, not so much. Of course, you get a lot of changes in a preseason game in the second half, but it's not like Inter. It's not like our opposition still make substitutions. So I don't think that's, an actually valid excuse to play worse in the second half. And also similar to the last game, we're just missing too many chances. Like, it wasn't as many as it was against Perth, but only 2 goals scored in 2 games is everything but great, if we're being realistic. Of course, especially with a new coach and a new system, it takes a little bit of time to get it all going. And of course, especially the attacking bit of the whole, new system is what takes, the longest to get into, the brains of the players. So it will take a little while, but I do really hope for us to start scoring more goals, against Man City on the weekend. The latest would be quite good. No one in the second half that particularly stood out in a positive way for me. Just Bakayoko was so poor. Like, he has the odd good moment here and there, the odd burst of pace, the odd, good movement or just, showing of strength. but then he has so many horrendous passes. Like, it's ridiculous, actually. One of which, one of those horrendous passes and horrendous mistakes, playing a large part in conceding the equaliser early on in the second half. It's just frustrating with him. A lot of people tweeted it at me as well, and it's kind of true. Like, he doesn't do this simple stuff right, and it's really frustrating. I'm not saying Bakayoko can't pass the ball or can't control the ball, but in games he makes so many mistakes with these simple things that footballers just have to get straight. It's frustrating. I mentioned my Twitter there. Do make sure you follow me over there. I'm quite close to 2,000 followers, so make sure you head over there, follow me. The link is in the description, or you can see it here. That'd be class. But moving on with the video, and Callum Hudson-Odoi did definitely shine again. He's just a great, an absolutely great little player. He's only 17 years of age, so quick, very, smart in his movement, in his passing, when to lay the ball off, when to go for it himself. It's really good, and I really hope that he can get a good amount of games this season, and also that he won't be loaned out. I think he can improve so much if he got quite regular game time, especially with the likes of Eden Hazard around him. That could do him a massive bit of help, and he's already very good. So I think there's a lot of potential in Callum Hudson-Odoi. Like I said, I kind of want him to get quite a bit of game time as a backup this season and not be loaned out, really. And similar things can be said about Ethan Ampadu. Another good showing by the 17-year-old, and he's just so, especially considering his age at the centre back position, which is a bit different to being a winger like Callum Hudson-Odoi is. He's so mature, he's so calm, and he's just very good. Really impressed by him. And also, like I said already, Morata much improved from the last game. Didn't go down as easy, didn't complain as much, and actually played, some decent football. So, let's hope he can keep that going throughout pre-season if he does end up staying at the club, of course. And also Jorginho, again, commanding the midfield, great passing, and also blocking passing lanes when he has to defend. Great little player. Also, he's very vocal. Obviously, the stadium was very empty today, so you could kind of see and sometimes even hear the players shouting, and he's very vocal, more than you might maybe think from his stature and from the way he, his appearance, really. He's very vocal, and I like that a lot. I think it's important that in his resistor role that he's very vocal, because he kind of needs to dictate that midfield, because it all really evolves around him. But still, I am very much looking forward to the likes of Willian, Hazard and Kante, but also Batshuayi returning from the holidays, because we have so many options at the back, especially with quite a few players, defensive players returning from the holidays this week. But going forward, we're a bit limited at the moment, so we kind of need those players to come back, especially obviously Hazard, Willian, if he does end up staying. They will make this whole Sarri ball thing so much more fluid and work so much better, because that's just great players. But yeah, it's another test, it's another game in the legs of the players ahead of the season. It's another win, I suppose, although, like I said a few times now, in reality it's a draw. Now it's on to Arsenal, I think, on Wednesday, who did actually beat PSG 5-1 earlier today, so fair play to them. Didn't see anything off the game, but still beating PSG 5-1, you can't really complain about that. And then it's against Manchester City in the Community Shield next Sunday. But yeah, that's really it from me. Leave me all of your thoughts on the game down in the comment section below. Who did impress you? Of course, like I said, I mentioned my favourite players of the day. Leave me all of your thoughts on it down in the comment section below. Like I said in the beginning, let's see whether we can hit 600 or more likes on this video. That'd be absolutely amazing, so make sure you hit that thumbs up button down below. Also, don't forget to check out my social media, which is Last1507 on both Instagram and Twitter, as you can see over here, and also the links to both of them are down in the description below. I'd massively appreciate it if you could follow me over there. And of course, it is YouTube, so if you haven't already, do make sure you subscribe to 100% Chelsea, and also don't forget to click the notification bell button and choose to be notified about all uploads. But yeah, that's it from me. Thank you guys for watching. Up the Chelsea, and I'll see you next time.